A great Power App starts long before you open a Power App Studio. It starts with understanding the business requirements. Before we create a single screen or write a single formula, we need to answer one important question. How should we store our data? And in this video, I will show you how to design a SharePoint list or database that is scalable, easy to maintain, and built on using real world business problems practices. So let's get started. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dilip, and we are continuing our issue tracking system series. In part one, we explored what an issue management is and what a business needs to do to solve it. In part two, we designed the user interface and also built the landing page for our application. Today, we are moving behind the scene. Before we build the app, we need to design the database that will store all of our information. Think of the database as the foundation of the building. If the foundation is strong, the application becomes easier to build, maintain, and enhance in future. One of the biggest mistake that I did early on during the Power App development was to design the Power App first and then go back to database. That created a lot of problem because I have to go back and change the columns that I have already created and the data type that is needed. So it became a problem, and sometimes I have to go back and edit the design. Sometimes I have to edit the SharePoint column. So it is very, very important to understand what the requirements are. Now, in today's environment, I do the exactly opposite. I first try to identify the business need or reach out to the person, the teams, and gather what their needs are. And that helps me in designing an efficient database. Once the database is ready, building an application becomes much easier. So today, let's think like a business analyst before we think like a Power App developer. Why are we using SharePoint as our database? For many organizations using Microsoft 365, SharePoint is already available with their licenses. Also, it integrates with Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI. It does provide version history, security information, easy collaboration, cloud storage. While enterprise solution may use Dataverse or SQL Server, as SharePoint also provide an excellent choice for many internal applications. Before creating our SharePoint list, let's think about the information we need. So if let's go back to the business problem that we were trying to solve and the thing that we're trying to achieve throughout the series. We have an issue that's been found, and then we are trying to submit that on a portal and then escalate to someone or the business unit. Now, what all information do we need it to escalate those or to send it to someone who can take a look on it, right? So whenever you're trying to solve for any kind of a business problem, then you definitely want to think about it first, what you want to do, what could be the information that is needed to from point A to point B. So in this scenario where we are talking about the issue management, what kind of information do we need, right? One of the example is we need the description, and obviously because we want to track the issue, so we need the status. We want to track where it was found or who has raised it, so department. um, and we also need who is working on it, so assigned to field. And we definitely want to make it a time bound, so due date or at least the approximate resolution date, something like that, which keeps a check on the owner that hey, you need to resolve it by a certain amount of time. so that they continue to drive the change. Also, we want, when the issue is closed or completed, the resolution comment that tell us what happened, what was the outcome. So these are the key things that an issue management tracker may need. But again, at the same time, like I said, you have to understand the problem and then again reach out to the business unit, the team, the people who are going to use it or who are going to be involved in that process. Understand what they need, what kind of information they want, what kind of ease of access they need. All of these things will help you in creating a database which can be seamless and it is easy to use, right? Someone doesn't have to think twice where the issue is. If there is a sign to field, they can go and see who is working on it. It makes it easier. Similarly, someone from the team who manages the issue, if they want to know which department we got the issue from, so we have a field which is called department. They can go back and check. So, and the status will help you in tracking where the issue is. Is it new? Is it work in progress, or is it closed? All of those. So that helps in building a seamless, ease of access tool for issue management. All right. So now that we understand what are the fields that we need, or what do we need to do in terms of going ahead and building a database, let me go ahead and quickly jump into SharePoint. So this is the SharePoint site that I've created, and we're going to utilize this throughout the series. So if you have the access to a SharePoint site, one of the features that SharePoint site has is called SharePoint List. Now, SharePoint List is something uh, where you can store data. Now, consider that is quite similar to Excel, right? So you have rows and columns, and you can store data in it. Similarly, list will give you similar capability with some of the feature which are uh, more handy to utilize data, right? Like defining the data type and making sure that user doesn't input in their own way of writing things, which we'll understand when we go through creating the columns. So let me go ahead and quickly click on new here, and that will give me an option to create a list. So let's go ahead and click on list. Now I see I have multiple options: list, form, gallery, etc. And also, if I already have a data in Excel, I can always utilize Excel file to create the list. Like we have been doing throughout this series, we are always taking the step where we begin from zero. So here also we are going to start from blank list. So we're going to create a list, and then it will ask us to enter a name. So let's name it as issue tracker, right? And if you want to show this list in the SharePoint site navigation, then you can always keep this selected like here. Or if you don't want anyone to see it upfront, then go ahead and do this, uncheck, and click on create. As soon as you click on create, what will happen is you will see the there is already a column created as title. Let me zoom in. So if you see here, we already have a column which is title, and this is a text field and can be utilized to provide a title in your issue management portal. Let me just zoom out a bit. Right. Now what we'll do, we'll go ahead and try to create columns for our SharePoint site, for our Power Apps. Okay, so let me go ahead and click on add column. Here I have an option of selecting multiple data types. I have text, choice, date and time, multiple line of text, person, number, right? So there are so many options to pick. For now, let's think about the problem that we are trying to solve. So we are saying that our problem is when a user finds an issue, they submit that into a portal and then it is escalated to a line of business. Now, what all information we need first from the user so that we can decide, all right, we need to send it to someone else or we need to work through a ticket or a project, right? So for that, we need certain information from the user who is going to submit. And that's why we are going to go ahead and create those. So first thing which I can think of for any kind of issue is depart department column, right? So let me go ahead and click on choice and I'll talk about why I'm selecting choice. So let's click on choice here and let's name it as department. If you see here, it is a choice, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to force our user to pick one of the values that I'm going to give. I don't want them to enter a department name on their own because um, let's take an example where I have a department called IT, right? Some people will write IT or some people will write information technology, some will capitalize, some will use small letters. So in that case, I will find it very difficult to show insight that how many requests we got from certain department, right? You can, right? But it will make it difficult. And that's why we are going to utilize choice column and we are going to say, you know what, here is what you're going to use for IT. If you're from HR, use this. If you are from change management, use this. If you are from quality, then use this, right? So we are giving a predefined value that you're going to select only this. And you can keep it here 4, 5, 6, 10, depending on your use case. You can write the choices. And all you have to do is click on add choice and it will give you an option to create one. Now, if you see here, we have default value. Now, default value is something if we want SharePoint to generate the value whenever someone submits a value on the form, right? Or the item. But in our department case, we don't want that because we want user to select one. We don't want to pick something for them. We will scroll and click on more option. If you see here, we have the radio button or allow multiple selection required. This column contains information, right? So we can make it mandate also. For the multiple selection, if your use case requires that multiple department can be impacted for the same issue, so then you in that scenario you can allow multiple select. And if you want to make the field mandatory, then go ahead and select the required information. I am not going to do any of that because I don't want my users to say that I am from two department, right? So I am from change management or I am from quality. So it can be only one department. So I don't want them to select multiple. And for the required field, that's something which I don't want to do it on SharePoint. I want to do it on Power Apps. That's where we will do it. So whenever we do that, I'll show you how you can do it. Do not make anything mandate on SharePoint unless you intend to utilize the SharePoint form that is available. So if you click on new, you can see here the form is there. You can choose the department. Just click on cancel and continue to build. So now we know that user will select the department. What else do we want from the user? We want the user to, let's say, provide market also. So we are going to again give a choice column and the reason will remain the same for not, for picking up market. So let's say T and maybe AUS, Mexico, right? So you can keep on adding the market also. And here there's a difference, right? So there is a possibility that the issue can be impacted for multiple market. In that scenario, you can always allow multiple selection. If you feel that your business case doesn't require multiple selection, do not do it. All right, let's click on save and move forward. So we have given the user option to select department and market, and they are going to provide the title. Now we want to know the description of the issue, right? What are you trying to tell us? So this is where we want to give them an option to write multiple line of text. So multiple line of text, right? So click on next, and then here we can write description or anything else that you want to call this field, and then click on save button. That will create the description. Whenever you're designing the front form, try to collect as much information as you can, right, from the submitter, so that it becomes very easy for you to make a decision and researching the issue or reaching out to someone who can help you in resolving that issue. So for now, we have title, department, market, and description. Do we need anything else, right? Now here, depending on your organization, or if you're a individual developer, depending on your use cases, you may want to provide like phone number, account number, or if you want, if let's say something came from quality, is there a quality document you want to reference, right? If your company has list of documents available and every document has some ID attached to it, you want that to be pulled up for the review, then you can always collect those information also. We are not adding those here because for our use case, we only need department, market, description, and title. And then we are going to think about the backend aspect, how someone will manage the issue. And this is where we are going to create the first column, which is again choice. We're going to pick this. We're going to name as status column. Now for this status column, you can always define it the way you want to. For us, let's say new, when something new is submitted, assigned, when it is assigned to someone but no work has started, then pending, which means it is assigned and someone is working on it. And then the last one, we're going to say resolved or completed, anything that you want to use, you can do that. We're keeping it very simple. We're not going for too many values, but you can always decide like cancelled, declined, or on hold, or anything else, right? But whenever you do that, the most important thing will be that you define it in a way so that your business is able to understand, or at least someone who's going to work on your issues, they also understand when they have to select which value. That's a very critical aspect here. If I scroll down, again, I have multi-select and required field. We're not going to allow multi-select because we want the status to reflect only one value. If it is new, then it should be new only. If it is assigned, then it should be assigned only. We don't want anyone to select multiple. Then if what I wanted to say is this default value. Now we haven't selected this in department or market, but we are going to select default value here. Instead of none, we are going to make it new. So every item that is created in SharePoint should always have a value of new for the first upon submission. So when the issue is submitted, it says as new, and then the issue management analyst or the owner will come back into the app and change it to assigned or pending or complete, depending where it is. For now, let's click on save. So our first column from the backend aspect is created. Let's go and create another one. We've been talking about assigned. So we are going to use person column, and we are going to name it as assigned to, right? Now this is a personal column, which means it can pick up from the email address and it can have more values like the name and the job title, etc. So very important field, and you can always utilize this for using in Power Automate also, right? So if you want to trigger the email, you can utilize this field and you can get the email address from this one. So very useful field that we have. So we are going to click as save. Now we are going to move forward with the next one. What do we want to give is our issue analyst to pick up a resolution date, or let's call it an approximate resolution date, because we don't know how much time it will take, but depending on the business requirement. If they know that okay, certain kind of issue required 1 week, certain kind of issue required 4 week, or certain kind of issue required 8 weeks, then you can definitely go ahead and give a drop down and ask the issue analyst to go ahead and pick one of them. But if you're not sure and it's totally based on the judgment of the analyst, then give approximate resolution date or approximate completion date, right? So we are going to give approximate resolve date. Now here the data type is date and time. If you want that time should be included, then click on this one. Otherwise you can leave it as it is. If you want to give it a friendly format, then you can do that also. And default value, if you want to start like the today's date, then you can do that also. Or if there is like, in our case, we are going to keep it very simple. We are not going to select any of these and we are going to click on save button. Now we have status assigned to approximate resolve date. We are going to give another field which is multiple line of text, and we are going to call it follow-up field. We want the status to be provided every month, every week, whatever the strategy would be, but we definitely want to give a field where someone can go ahead and provide what they have done so far. So we are going to give a follow command, multiple line of text, click save. We have status, assign, approximate, and follow up. Let's go ahead and give another field. Now whenever the issues are fixed and those are done through certain things in the business, then you can always come up with the, like, you can call it root cause, right? So what happened with the issue, what you found, right? So you can always give a choice field and you can name it as root cause. And let's go ahead and we can give the value, right? Database error. All right, come on. Okay, database error. The next one could be human error. And so why that issue happened, that's something which you want to call it out, right? So that's why you're saying that database error or downstream impact. You can name anything else. So these are the field, and that's why I said it is important to collect the information from the business or the user who is going to be involved, because they know what their pain areas are and you're trying to solve for them. So when you go in a meeting with them, you're collecting these things. When you're asking for the requirement, these are the things that you're trying to get from them. So now we have this root cause column we have created, and we're going to click on save. And the last field that we want to give is this, again a multiple line of text. We're going to name it as resolve amends. What it does, it gives a field where the analyst who's working on it can provide a summary when everything is done, right? Either the issue is resolved or there was no issue. They can come back and provide the rationale why certain things happen, and then say that okay, we are closing this for because of this reason. So that's why we are going to give multiple line of text as resolve command. So we have created all of the list columns that we need for our power apps, and these are the things that very important whenever you're building any kind of app, right? So we understood the person column, the choice column, or the single line of text, the date and time. All of these columns are important data type, and those come handy whenever you're trying to work on any kind of report or any kind of insight. Even if you're designing Power Automate to automate certain thing, these data type will help you in making your job easier when you're designing uh, the Power App and Power Automate. So before we finish here today, a few of the best practices that will help you build the better SharePoint database is always try to give the column a meaningful name, right? So it's something which you can relate to. Like I gave assign to, which means I know this is the field where I am going to pick up the names of individual who's going to work on it. Or we use choice column, right? for our department or the market. That makes it easier so that it keeps the data uniform. For my department, I know else is going to use information technology for IT. I've given them only IT. So that's the cool part, right? I can control the way someone is going to enter the data. It keeps it uniform for everybody and help me build a report, help me build insight from the data that we accumulate. So always design your database keeping reporting in mind. That's the key aspect. We didn't talk about created and created by field. So SharePoint does have an option to capture the the submitter who is submitting their name and when they're submitting. That is also being captured systematically in SharePoint. So that's one of the cool aspects. You don't have to create a separate field. It is already there. And there's a field called modified and modified by that does the similar kind of work where it will capture when was the last time it was modified and who modified it. So those two fields are also there and you can utilize it in a different way. If I need the let's say I am resolving an issue and I want to capture their name, I can utilize a Power Automate to capture the person's name when the status was changed to complete it, right? For the first time. I can create a flow for that. That's something which we will definitely do throughout this series, and we'll try to do that when we go to Power Automate. For now, we'll keep it very simple. For our form, we have already created the SharePoint list. We have the columns, and yeah, let me go ahead and move back to our presentation. Let me just go ahead and click here and all right. So our SharePoint database is already ready. And in the next video, we'll connect this SharePoint to our Power Apps and start working towards our application. We will establish the connection from the SharePoint to our app. If you have found this video helpful, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in part 4.